Hi, and in this video, I want to counter some flack that I've encountered. People are accusing me of being a moral relativist, right? And they're saying that that's out. Moral relativism is out. And they're throwing arguments at me from both from a Marxist perspective and also from a perspective of metamodernism, because moral relativism, ethical relativism, is a subset of postmodern theory, and postmodernism is out now. Um, Metamodernism has emerged this side of 2011 as the reaction to postmodernism. So ethical relativism is outdated, and yeah. So I've come into a lot of flack that I am an ethical relativist or whatever. And so in this video, I want to explain. It's sort of like it's not quite an epistemological, um, it's not quite sort of like an epistemological dissertation here or anything like that. It's a very short video. I just want to explain or go over my, the epistemological method that I use when I make these videos. Okay. Um, and yeah, first of all, I refer to encyclopedias, right? When I make these videos, I refer to encyclopedias. And when I first started making videos about 2 years ago or whatever, when I was an ex Jehovah's Witness PIMO or what have you, and Jehovah's Witness PIMO, I used to say in many of the videos, you know, the reason I look at, I look at Wikipedia, and the reason I look at Wikipedia is because Jehovah's Witnesses say that Wikipedia is edited by demons, so I look at Wikipedia, right? And that was true, and at a certain point, that was good or whatever, that I was taking a position of I look at Wikipedia in defiance of the Jehovah's Witness organization. Okay, yeah, I will look at Wikipedia. Many people who wake up from Jehovah's Witnesses, the first place they go after they are cured themselves from the fear of the demons that lurk in Wikipedia, is the first place they go to get some sort of factual information about the objective reality that the organization lies about, right? And that's why the organization Jehovah's Witnesses don't like people going to Wikipedia, because people go to Wikipedia and they are exposed to ideas that contradict Jehovah's Witness theology, right? And the Jehovah's Witnesses are very strict about their theology, and the members have to toe the line. You're not allowed to think for yourself in Jehovah's Witnesses. You have to think what the Watchtower magazine says you have to think. So, for an ex-Jehovah Witness PIMO to go to Wikipedia is a big leap forward, And I mean, most people take Wikipedia for granted, and most people think, Wikipedia is not really reliable because it's it's a collective project, and people go in there and write things, and sometimes it's not really, the sources are not verifiable, and all these things. A lot of subjectivity is involved in there too. So, Wikipedia is not a reliable source of information as the only source of information, but Wikipedia is very useful to get the picture on a specific topic, and then based on what you see in Wikipedia, you can do further research in other encyclopedias, right? Now, why do I base myself, why am I so focused on encyclopedias? Because when encyclopedias were invented in France during the time of the Enlightenment, they wanted to create a sort of an index of human knowledge that was accessible to all who could read and write, regardless of social class. So, when the people who came up with the idea of the encyclopedia, okay, they wanted to create a sort of concise book that a concise series of books organized in alphabetical order that listed human knowledge, right? Articles about different aspects of human knowledge all in one, so that people could go and consult what the facts are, and then, right, and then go ahead and make, educated decisions about the nature of reality. And this was supposed to be made accessible to the average person, right? The encyclopedia was for all. It was popular education for everyone, right? The people involved in the French Enlightenment who put together the first encyclopedias, Okay, their intention was to increase the level of knowledge among the general population, so that then in a future, when the monarchy was abolished and a republic was established, the people would be able to govern France. But to be able to govern France, the people needed to be educated. They needed to be freed from obscurantism, which was the intellectual regime that existed in pre-revolutionary feudal France, right? So that's the reason I look at encyclopedias, because I agree very much with the idea of popular education, of there being, a place that you can go as an average person that doesn't have any academic credentials, and you can go there and consult, about different topics of human knowledge, right? History, science, everything. And yeah, I mean, the articles in encyclopedias are written by experts in their field, or not necessarily in Wikipedia. Well, it could be in the model of the original encyclopedias that were first developed in France and around the time of the Enlightenment in the mid 1700s, or in the 1700s. Um, you know, the idea was that experts in each field would write an article describing the field or the subject of inquiry. So yeah, so that is where you get this idea that only experts know things. But the problem is that in modern times, experts can be bought, and they can say what they're paid to say, and that's the problem. But that was not an issue back in the 1700s, where they were trying to like free people from obscurantism. So that's the reason I look at encyclopedias when I make these videos, because I want to sort of like pay tribute to that tradition of popular knowledge available to everyone that the makers of the encyclopedia in France in the 1700s came up with, right? That's why I use encyclopedias when I make these videos, right? I'm trying to promote the idea of the encyclopedia as a tool of popular education, all right? Yeah, and I know my videos are very subjective. I am subjective. And all my videos are subjective because it's contextualized. My videos are made, are contextualized by metamodern and post-metamodern aesthetics, and that is the reason people are flacking me about my use of my so-called moral relativism, right? Or ethical relativism, because they say, well, you say you're contextualized by metamodern and post-metamodern aesthetics, but you're still a moral relativist, which is a throwback to postmodernism. So what is it? So you need to like update your whatever methodology here, because you are when your ethics are contextualized by postmodernism, not metamodernism, right? So right, I am not a moral relativist, okay? I am actually an advocate of a compromise between ethical relativism and moral realism, right? And that is called reductive ethics, and I will explain what that means. I am an advocate of reductive ethics, not moral or ethical relativism, and I will explain what that means. But first, I want to talk about the encyclopedias that I use, that I refer to. And I mean, originally, when I was coming out of Jehovah's Witnesses 2 years ago, I was only looking at Wikipedia, right? Because Wikipedia, like I said, is the first place where people who are doubting the indoctrination in Jehovah's Witnesses go. They go to Wikipedia because it's the most accessible thing. And I mean, you don't need to like log in or anything. So there's no record of you going to Wikipedia at the public library computer, right? Because you cannot use your computer at home or your phone, because you never know if somebody can. It's very dangerous. If you're caught looking at Wikipedia and Jehovah's Witnesses, you could be disfellowshipped, because you are looking at a demonic content, right? So like when I started accessing Wikipedia to like get facts that contradicted the indoctrination of the Jehovah's Witnesses, I was going at the public library, and I never logged in. I mean, I would log in into the computer, but I would never log into like Wikipedia or anything. And I would like, and in the library computers, when you log out, when you borrow it for like two hours, and when you log out, the library computer is preset to like erase everything and reboot everything from scratch for the next person. So whatever you did is like erased. So there is no danger in using the library of the computer, and that's why I accessed Wikipedia. But then as time went on, I realized that Wikipedia is not really. Sometimes information in Wikipedia might not be entirely reliable. So after that, I started looking I started look at Wikipedia to get the general picture, but then I look at Encyclopedia Britannica, and just to check, you double check. And also another encyclopedia that I really, really like is New World Encyclopedia. And New World Encyclopedia tries to integrate, you know, values with fact, right? Whereas Encyclopedia Britannica it's focused on this empirical, descriptive, factual, only. Encyclopedia Britannica is strictly fact, right? New World Encyclopedia, though, integrates facts and values, right? And they're more into the ethical reductivism, which is what I'm into, right? It's more New World Encyclopedia is an encyclopedia that works more for me. But again, ethical reductivism is one theory of ethics. There are others. So if I were to say, well, I want to look at an ethical reductivist oriented encyclopedia, then I'm being biased. So I still look at Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Because Encyclopedia Britannica is fact, right? Yeah. And I also look at the old Encarta encyclopedias made by Microsoft. You know, uh, the first time I ever saw an Encarta encyclopedia disc was in 1994, I think it was, after I had left high school. I mean, after I graduated high school, and that is because I was working at the electronics department at a department store called Target when I lived in Florida. That was my job, Target department store, Target, and they were selling that disc in there. Encarta 94 and Encarta 95, and I was like, that's interesting. I still have discs for Encarta 1999, Encarta 2000, and Encarta 2006. So, I mean, I no longer look at the 1999 and 2000 discs because they're very, very old. And I've made ISO images of it. And I mean, you can download these encyclopedias. They're Microsoft made them public domain. You can get them for free. You can just download them. They're public domain. Microsoft doesn't care about them anymore. Microsoft discontinued Encarta Encyclopedia in March of 2009, and they took down the website, unfortunately. And I think that was a mistake because Microsoft did that because Wikipedia came out. And they said, well, Wikipedia is the future, so Encarta is an obsolete product. And that they were mistaken. They shouldn't have done that. They should have kept Encarta. And actually, Microsoft should revive Encarta. They should bring Encarta back, and do it maybe do a thing with, I don't know, like bring something new, like apply a new theory of truth or epistemological approach or whatever from Microsoft. That would be cool, and then bring back Encarta and put it back online. Because again, the Wikipedia project was cool when it first started back in 2009 and 10 and whatever, but as time went on, Wikipedia is not really 100% reliable. Sometimes the information there is not really. And I mean, yeah, people go in there and put all sort of subjective things that are not really. And Wikipedia says that they don't like own self-research, but sometimes there's self-research in there. So, anyways, I have Encarta 2006 installed in an old laptop that has still Windows XP, Dell Latitude laptop that still works. And that speaks volumes about the quality of Dell computers, that their computers are made to last. I have this Dell Latitude laptop. I think it's from 2005, and it still works with Windows XP. Service Pack 3, and I was able to install the Encarta 2006. That model doesn't have a CD-ROM drive. I had to do it through I had to connect a CD-ROM drive external, and then put the disk in it and install it in the old Latitude laptop. But when I use that encyclopedia Encarta 2006, I have to connect the external DVD drive and put it. And I mean, this technology that I'm describing nobody uses DVDs or CDs anymore, or latitude compute, whatever stuff. The stuff that I'm describing is technology from like 2005 or in 2000 whatever. I think I got the external CD-ROM drive thing in 2010. So, anyways, yeah, yeah. So I still consult, the Encarta 2006. The problem is that it has been, Microsoft discontinued updating encyclopedias in 2009. So what I have the update files up to like 2007 ish, and the information in that encyclopedia as time goes on becomes less and less reliable. So it's kind of like, I also have a copy of the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica. I have the entire thing in a deja vu files that I downloaded from a place somewhere as a torrent. And you look at that encyclopedia and it's the same thing. I mean, it's not really reliable because it's from 1911. But they have some interesting articles there. They have a really interesting article about the Southern Confederacy, for example, and it's kind of like it's pretty good, especially when it talks about like the economic situation for the Confederacy during the blockade, and like, it's really good. The 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica, but that's a separate issue. So yeah, I mean, I don't consult the 1911 Encyclopedia Britannica. That is something that I look at as something like, it's something like a archaeological or whatever, But yeah, and in the 2006 Encarta, I look at it, but it's not reliable anymore because it hasn't been so long updated. So, but nowadays, when I look at information to make these videos, I look at, Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica, and New World Encyclopedia, right? So, and, I just want to just say that very quickly so that we're clear, and again, I am not an ethical relativist, okay? And ethical relativism posits that there do not exist absolute values, and that all ethical statements must be contextualized by historical and cultural context, right? And that was the standard postmodern era, perspective on ethics. In metamodern times, after postmodern, in the postmodern metamodern era where we are now, and post-metamodern era, ethical reductivism is more acceptable. And basically, ethical reductivism is, as the name says, ethics are reductive. So there is only one absolute ethical precept, one sole and absolute ethical, one sole and universal ethical precept, and that is preservation of life. In all societies and historical contexts, in all historical and cultural contexts, it has always been illegal to murder. Murder has never been acceptable to any human society in any historical context. So, preservation of life is an absolute and quantifiable ethical precept that has always existed, regardless of, historical and cultural context. The purpose of human civilization is preservation of life, right? The reason we come up with a city-based society and economy, civilization, is precisely so as to ensure the preservation of the species into the next generation and the next generation after that, right? That's the reason we create political economies, to preserve life. So preservation of life is the one and only absolute ethical principle that you can rely on. Is like hard rock that is universal and universal and transcends history and culture, right? Now, all other ethical precepts then are must be contextualized by historical and cultural context, though, and also political and religious influence. So that's ethical reductionism. It's a compromise between the moral realism of the 20th century and the ethical relativism of the postmodern era, which was roughly between the late 70s to 2011 was the postmodern era. So yeah. So I just wanted to state here for the record, I am not an ethical relativist. I am not an ethical relativist. I am an ethical reductionist. Okay? And as far as I'm concerned, the preservation of life is fundamental, objective, quantifiable, um, ethical principle that transcends historical and cultural context. Okay? So I'll leave it at that. Bye.